It's over the line. The goal's been given.
Jock Stein spent a lifetime watching football's greatest players. Some wore his shirt, others stood in his way. Very few earned his admiration, because Jock Stein never judged greatness by fame, or by medals, or by the noise surrounding a player. He believed the greatest footballers possessed something far rarer: leadership, football intelligence, composure under pressure, and the ability to make everyone around them better. That was the standard he measured every player against. Throughout one of the greatest managerial careers football has ever seen, Stein coached champions, faced world-class opponents, and watched countless stars rise and disappear. Only a handful left an impression that lasted forever. This is not an official list Jock Stein ever published. It is built from his own words, the players he trusted, the footballers he praised, and the respect he showed throughout his remarkable career. Some wore green and white, some never did. But every one of them represented something Jock Stein believed football could never succeed without: character, intelligence, and courage. Subscribe to remember football's greatest legends, and the first legend was a warrior Jock Stein respected long before the rest of football truly understood his greatness. Graeme Souness never played for applause. He played to win. Every pass had purpose. Every tackle sent a message. That was why Jock Stein respected him. Stein is widely quoted as calling Souness the best team player he had worked with. Not the most gifted, not the most famous, the best team player. That tells you everything about what Stein valued. Football was never about individuals. It was about making everyone around you stronger. Souness did exactly that. He led with authority, accepted responsibility, and never hid when matches became difficult. When others lost confidence, he demanded more. When the game became physical, he stepped forward instead of backwards. Those qualities could never be measured by goals or statistics, but Jock Stein saw them immediately. There were more skillful midfielders. There were more exciting players. Very few matched Souness for leadership, discipline, and complete commitment to the team. To Stein, that was real greatness, because talent might win a match, character wins careers. And the next legend was the captain who carried Jock Stein's standards onto the biggest stage in club football. Billy McNeill was never the loudest player on the pitch. He never needed to be. His presence alone demanded respect from teammates, from opponents, and from Jock Stein. Stein once explained what made a truly great footballer. It was someone who could bring out the best in everyone around him. Then he added, "I'm talking about Billy McNeill." That single sentence revealed how highly Stein regarded his captain. McNeill was more than a defender. He was the leader who carried Stein's ideas onto the pitch. When pressure grew, he stayed calm. When confidence dropped, he lifted those around him. And when the biggest moments arrived, he never looked away. That is why Stein trusted him with the captain's armband during Celtic's greatest years, including the unforgettable night in Lisbon. While others remember Billy McNeill for lifting the European Cup, Stein admired something much deeper: his character, his authority, and his ability to unite 11 players behind one belief. Many captains wear the armband. Very few become the heartbeat of an entire team. Billy McNeill did exactly that. To Jock Stein, he wasn't simply leading Celtic, he was leading by example. And the next legend possessed a football brain so special, Stein believed it hardly mattered where he played. Kenny Dalglish made difficult football look effortless. He was a goal scorer, a creator, a leader, and above all, a football thinker. Jock Stein saw that long before the rest of Europe did. When people debated where Dalglish should play, Stein had the perfect answer. "Oh, just let him on the park." That was not a joke. It was one of the greatest compliments a manager could give, because Stein believed truly exceptional players were not limited by positions. Dalglish could drop deep, create chances, score goals, and change the rhythm of a match, almost without anyone noticing. His football intelligence separated him from everyone around him. Then came the day Celtic lost him. After Dalglish moved on, Stein reportedly asked, "Where do we find any player like him?" That question said everything. Some players leave a gap, others leave a legacy that cannot be replaced. Dalglish belonged in the second group. To Stein, his greatest quality was never just talent, it was his understanding of the game. He always seemed to choose the right pass, the right movement, the right moment. That is why he became one of Scotland's greatest footballers, and one of the finest players Jock Stein ever had the privilege to manage. But even Dalglish could not claim the highest praise on this list, because the next legend was an opponent, whose football brain amazed Jock Stein himself. Bobby Moore never relied on speed, he relied on understanding. He seemed to know where the ball would go, before anyone else did. Jock Stein admired that more than almost anything. Speaking about more, Stein famously said, "There should be a law against him. He knows what's happening 20 minutes before anyone else." For a manager who valued football intelligence above reputation, that was extraordinary praise. Moore rarely made desperate tackles. He rarely looked rushed. Instead, he solved problems before they became dangerous. That was the difference. While others defended with strength, Moore defended with his mind. Stein recognized that immediately. He knew football's greatest players were not always the quickest or the strongest. Sometimes, they were simply the smartest. Moore's reading of the game made difficult matches look simple. He brought calm to chaos, confidence to his teammates, and frustration to every opponent who tried to outthink him. That was exactly the type of footballer Stein respected. A player whose greatest weapon was his brain. Many remember Bobby Moore as England's World Cup winning captain. Jock Stein remembered something even greater. A footballer who seemed to see the future before everyone else on the pitch. And the final legend was the player Jock Stein believed came closer than anyone to representing everything he wanted a footballer to be. Bobby Murdoch was never the biggest star. He never chased attention. He simply made great teams work. That was enough for Jock Stein. Among all the outstanding footballers he managed, one name stood above the rest: Bobby Murdoch. Stein once said, "As far as I am concerned, Bobby Murdoch was just about the best player I had as manager." Coming from a man who coached so many legends, that praise speaks for itself. Murdoch controlled matches without demanding the spotlight. He dictated the tempo, found the right pass, made the difficult look simple, and gave every player around him confidence. There is another famous saying about him: "When Bobby Murdoch played, Celtic played." Few footballers have ever been described more perfectly. Murdoch was the engine of Stein's greatest side. If the midfield was calm, Celtic were calm. If Murdoch controlled the ball, Celtic controlled the match. That is why Stein trusted him so completely. He did not need flashy tricks or endless headlines. His football spoke loudly enough. To supporters, Murdoch was one of Celtic's greatest players. To Jock Stein, he was almost the complete footballer, the man who represented everything his manager believed the game should be. And when you look back at these 5 remarkable names, one thing becomes impossible to ignore. Jock Stein never admired footballers simply because they were famous. He admired them because they made everyone around them better. At first glance, they achieved greatness in different ways. Some led from the front, some controlled matches with intelligence, some inspired through courage. Others made the players around them better. But Jock Stein admired them for the same reason. They always placed the team above themselves. They accepted responsibility. They stayed calm under pressure. And when football demanded leaders, they never hid. Those qualities tell us as much about Jock Stein as they do about the players he admired, because those were the standards he spent his entire career searching for. Character before reputation, intelligence before glamour, the team before the individual. That philosophy transformed Celtic, inspired Scotland, and earned him the respect of the football world. Then came the night. Football stood still. On September 10th, 1985, Scotland earned the result they needed against Wales. But moments later, Jock Stein collapsed beside the touchline. Despite every effort to save him, he passed away doing what he loved most, leading his team. It was a heartbreaking end for one of football's greatest managers, yet perhaps there could have been no more fitting farewell. He gave everything to football until football became his final moment. The 5 legends in this documentary all shared different gifts, but together they reflected the values Jock Stein believed could never be replaced: leadership, intelligence, responsibility, character. Those qualities never grow old. Neither does the legacy of the man who valued them above everything else. Subscribe because legends deserve to be remembered.